Okay, so I have made a lot of progress since the last time I did a recording for Roll20. And I definitely started enjoying it more after I got over that, I guess, learning hump. I've made quite a few more maps, and we are going to be playing tonight on Roll20, so we'll see how the game session goes. So this is where I plan on having them start, in their common room. I did find that I was able to make maps in Roll20 a little bit easier than I initially thought. But it's still, again, slightly easier than that to make it in Photoshop, at least just like the background in the wall structure, especially if it's rounded or kind of, I guess, more organic. I found it easier to work in Photoshop than in Roll20. It's a little bit less crisp. You can see the walls are kind of blurry. I could have used maybe a higher resolution, but you only have, on a free account, 100 megabytes of space to upload, so I'm trying to be a little bit more gentle with my image sizes. So I've set everything up. I don't plan on having an encounter here, and I'm still trying to decide if I want to put like students. It would make more sense if I put the students like in here too, but I only have a handful of students that I'm using in my art gallery. And again, I made the tokens for them. It was quite difficult to find people that looked young enough like they could be in school. And not to look like their clothing couldn't be too epic looking. I wanted it to look kind of roby. I had to kind of fix this, guys. So I did have a hard time finding people that could qualify as students. On just Pinterest, of course, is usually where I look and find stuff. But I like to use these guys for combatants. So if they have to fight a bunch of bullies or something like that, these are usually these are the students that I plan on using. So I don't want my characters to be like, oh, those are the same guys that we fought the other day because they're sitting in my common room. I just wanted them to view them as generic pieces, but I don't know. Maybe I could do a top-down wizard to indicate like just generic students. I don't know. Anyways, I'll show you the other things. I haven't labeled anything yet either. I haven't like put text labels, and maybe I should do that so that they don't get confused or lost. I don't remember if I showed you guys the pond area. I put little fishies in there. That was probably like the first map that I finished. I finished the history of magic. You guys saw me starting on this one and putting the desks in. So I put like little light features in there. And these are the essence things, Professor Binns' essence that they're going to have to find while the combat's going. All the monsters. So I put the, quote, fog of war, so my characters can't see anything down here. And these are the groups, the waves that I'm going to be sending them in. And the tokens, I like, since my players are going to be having like this face forward token thing, I wanted my monster tokens to kind of have that same look too, so it fit better than the top down. Other than that, I've been pretty happy with most of the free features that I can find. Like when I look for art assets, like almost everything that you see is free except for the like tokens that I had to make. So far, like it's been pretty easy to keep my 100 megabytes like easily under control, because anything that you use from like the art asset tab doesn't count towards your allotment. It's anything that you upload from your computer that counts towards it. I also I decided on a dungeon for the Sorcerer's Stone dungeon. They've explored this area. This is where they kind of fell in from the trophy room, which is the 3rd floor, and they fell in here. And then they went down this hallway. It was actually surprisingly hard to find a hallway art piece to put in here, so it looks a little weird, but this is what led them over to the kitchens. And then this was the rubble they haven't gone through, though again, one of my other groups went through here. And the map is slightly different than when I ran my other group. I'm not sure if they probably would have come over here to find the wolves' den, but I've changed things up for my home group since they haven't come down here, so I haven't decided exactly what I want to be everywhere. The werewolf is down here, but I haven't decided where I'm going to put her yet. But I thought it was just so perfect. This would be like the key room where they had to get the keys and unlock the door. I figured that this would be... Oh, I don't have a room for the chess, huh? Well, maybe this could be the potion room. I don't know. Anyways, they're not experiencing any of that. I was just trying to think of how to tie it into the books. So, but this looked like a really great area where Harry faced off against Voldemort for the Sorcerer's Stone. I just thought that was such a perfect area. It needs like one more room for chess. Totally forgot about chess. So yeah, I still need to kind of fill in details for here. I know that there's going to be a werewolf. Probably her wolf pets are going to be in here, but what else I want to put in here, I don't know. And then this is what I decided on for the Chamber of Secrets. The players, once they find the painting, and underneath the painting in the pond, there's a tunnel that comes to the Chamber of Secrets, and that's going to lead up through here, this little pool. So they could swim in here. This is a door, and I haven't decided if I want to lock it to the point where they can't get through, or if I want them to come in and at least explore like this area where the basilisk was slain. Maybe have like a fight here, because again, there's going to be monsters obviously that have moved in. I've been trying to brainstorm a little bit what kind of things I expect to find in the Chamber of Secrets dungeon. So, like, this is some of the things that it came up with a few monsters that they could find in here from just browsing the Dungeon Masters or Monsters Guide. Some critters that they would run into. Obviously, not everything in there is going to be, like, big and scary and hostile. And then some purposes behind the dungeon besides, like, that sleeping basilisk, sure. But, like, why would you build this giant chamber of secrets if you weren't going to use it for other purposes, right? I'm thinking, like, he probably used it to hold some secret genealogy records. I think that would be really cool. Somebody said, or I found a reference online that said that the Chamber of Secrets flooded at some point. It was in the Hogwarts A History from the film book. I haven't read through the whole film book. But so apparently it flooded down here, so I don't know what would have happened with those genealogy records, if maybe it didn't flood completely and only some of them got damp, or they could maybe try to decipher the parchment or whatever he used to figure it out. That might be kind of an interesting skill challenge, I suppose. Tristan the Terrible is the architect for the school, and I know that it said that Salazar built the Chamber of Secrets some point after all of the founders kind of started arguing. and that they all got along great at the start. But I kind of feel like Salazar would have been kind of a big project. I mean, maybe it wouldn't have if it was just like this tiny little room, tiny big room, where the snake sleeps. But I like to think that he made a contract with the original architect of Hogwarts. Like, I know that all the wizards like technically built it, so maybe I figure they would have to work with a magical architect to make it happen, because I doubt all 4 of the founders were builders, you know what I mean? Especially if they all became teachers and led a school, which is more like business savvy. So yeah, I figured that they would find that contract, and they already found the painting of Tristan the Terrible, so I thought that might be kind of a cool little tie-in. I figured that he would have been doing animal experimentation. I read about how basilisks are made in the Harry Potter world, and maybe just general mythology too. And I figure that if he is going to be like buying or making basilisks, he probably would have been doing other things. So animal experimentation would probably be happening down here. Probably adds to his evil doingness too. There's definitely going to be mushroom and fungi growth from the lab materials they used. Whether or not those are helpful or harmful, haven't really decided. Well, that's weird. Oh. Yeah, I'm still learning about the buttons, guys. Okay. And then trait research. This is something that I added kind of to the Harry Potter universe, at least to my knowledge. They haven't called these traits, though most of them exist, like they existed. Obviously, Parseltongue existed. This is what Tonks was, so that existed already. But I put in a few other ones. One of the other students that they've met in the school is a Deathless. Basically a person that can suspend their essence. So, like, they live for a really long time unless you kill their owl companion. So that's kind of what I made them. I haven't exactly decided how useful that is, or if they have a particular like secret task in the magical society. Seer is basically anybody that can actually use divination, essentially like not Trelawney. Well, it happens to her suddenly, so she's like maybe half seer, but rule breaker is there. You know how there's rules. There's not a lot of rules in the Harry Potter universe, but there are rules for like you can't make food out of nothing. I think that's like the only rule that they really laid down. But I like the idea of, well, I'll have to create more rules that they can break. But I figured that a rule breaker is somebody that can kind of bend those laws ever so slightly, but I'm trying to figure out maybe there would be a cost to it. But they have like a genetic trait that allows them to break the rules. And then a collector, somebody that I haven't, maybe can collect or retrieve magic from enchanted objects, or can collect other wizards' essence. That would be really quite nefarious. It'd be interesting to make that a villain, but also kind of figuring out how you could make somebody use it for good. Anyways, so those are the things. The trait research I figured is going to be kind of in this hallway, in these little nooks. The monster experimentation is going to be here. I was going to put pens in these locations. Or maybe here, pens there. maybe these for bigger creatures, you'd think like if you were growing a basilisk or maybe like a basilisk family, you would want something bigger like that. So maybe the labs could be down here. I haven't decided about this big room. This is where they, I presume, would have entered. And this is probably collapsed here. So I'd have to add some rubble there. But that's my plan for that. It's not completely fleshed out, obviously. So, well, hopefully before tonight, I will decide if they're going to be able to come in here. And I wouldn't have to decide anything after that because the combat would probably take the rest of the night. They're also going to be facing that round encounter in History of Magic, so this is going to probably take up a portion of the night too, a good portion. So I don't have to plan super far in advance. I can still decide and ruminate on things. It takes me a long time to kind of decide what I want my players to face and encounter. But yeah, so I've gotten better at using the tools, better at figuring out how to copy paste. I did the Defense Against the Dark Arts classrooms too. This is a map that I did make in Roll20. So all of these are technically like part of the draw tool. I figured out that if you put the draw on the objects and tokens layer and then you right click it, we'll see if I can like select it and then you right click it and then you tell it to go to a different layer. It's so much easier to like pick up, well, you can pick up and move a drawing when it's on the other layer, but you can't once it gets to the map layer. So like you want to finalize everything, make sure you like it, and then you can send it back to the map layer. Because once it's there, I can't like grab it or anything. I can only grab like the objects that I've placed there. At least I can't figure out how to do it. So you can also, I used some of the stone working, which isn't completely aligned because I used it to kind of cover up like other lines that weren't supposed to technically be there with the drawing. So you kind of have to be sneaky with how you place things. These are the runes. My current Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher is a professional rune maker and curse detector, so she's been putting all sorts of things around here to try to figure out what's going on with the curse against her office. And yeah, that's about all the maps that I've made for the group, and I'm pretty happy with where we've gotten. Oh, and this one. This one looks a little weird. I've been trying to figure out how to make it so that when the characters enter, they see like this big tree, which is where like the Voldemort's ritual down here is. I don't think they're gonna see this like weird outline thing. This is on the Game Master's layer. I think. Or is it? I don't know. Okay. Anyways, I tried to make this on the Game Master's layer, and then I'm going to right click it and put it on the map background so my players can see it once they finally discover the tunnel. I'm going to move the tree out of the way for once they go underneath and start looking around, which is why I made the tree a token. So I'm just going to move it out of the way. And then this is the trunk. And you can see that there's a trap door that I put rubble over, that they'll have to there's a skill challenge involved with that. They have to find the key, and they have to move the rubble. And then the altar's inside. And again, I really hope they can't see this. Oh, I wonder if I can There's like a way to like rejoin as a player. Let's see if that changes how I see things. Oh, shoot. Okay. Let's go back. I have to put the quote player tokens on the right map so that I can see if it's working. Okay. And now rejoin as player. Let's see if this tells me. Oh, perfect. Well, I'm glad that I can kind of check on that sort of thing. Super. I also, aside from making tokens and maps, I've also figured out the camera problem. So I don't have like a desktop camera or anything like that. I do have obviously a phone. So I really wanted to figure out how to make the phone work for this. And I had a really hard time finding answers about what apps could work with this. They kept just saying like every camera works, but I couldn't figure out an app to make my phone link to my desktop. And I ended up finding a really great app that works super awesome. ManyCam. So you have to have the app on your phone and then also on your desktop. But after those two are linked up, Roll20 can recognize the camera and it lets you use it. That's why it keeps like fuzzing out. It's because my phone isn't on right now. But yeah. So if you guys are also struggling with figuring out how to use a camera, ManyCam is awesome. It's free. They have obviously a tiered subscription if you want. And you can put like filters on your character or on your like screen in case you wanted to adjust the lighting. You can also put like little cute stickers that show up in here. Like everything shows up on this little screen down here. So it's very cool. As far as music goes, there were some cool music things that I found, but they're just nothing compared to the playlists that we all really love and use. So I asked my players what they wanted to do, if they wanted to figure out how to use Spotify in link with Discord. It sounds like that was kind of the preferred method, but some of them don't want to download a program, so they want to use the web browser. That's fine. So I just gotta figure out how to link all of that. Because I think I'm the only one that has the Spotify subscription. Otherwise, everybody would have commercials. And they didn't like that. And I don't blame them. So I am going to embed the pond music into the pond thing. I think I can do that. Maybe. Oh, I see. This is just okay. I still have to find pond music. I did find one, but I guess I didn't put it in there. I don't know. So I think I'm going to still embed maybe something here when they get here, just in case I can't get the Discord thing to work. Overall, I kind of what I expect for tonight. I'm going to start them on Friday evening, Saturday morning maybe. I really forget when I told them we were gonna do the ritual encounter. Yeah, I don't think I wrote it down. So hopefully they don't remember either. That would be great. So I'm thinking I'm gonna maybe do this Saturday night. As far as like I haven't written the results yet of like, okay, you did it. Oh, maybe I haven't answered my own questions either. Oh, yeah, okay. No, I did answer my question. I just haven't erased all my speculation. When they're done with the ritual, they're gonna see Professor Binns' magic essence really clearly, and they're gonna know it's him. So like essentially I want them to kind of wrap up this whole like Professor Binns magic fading business the next 2 or 3 sessions. So I might have them see the owl flying out over the Hogwarts grounds carrying Professor Binns' essence to the tree. But do I want them to follow the owl tonight? Because then it would be over in the next 2 or 3 sessions. I'd put combat in there. But then they wouldn't. Well, so the ritual would start Saturday night, and they would be starting Saturday morning. So they could come to the pond, play around with the skill challenge here, and then in the evening go there, and then they could finish it. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to start them on Saturday morning. And then they'll probably end up heading out to the pond. If they remember. Which I can just gently remind them. On a side note, I put like little red berries on the bushes with the free draw tool. And for some odd reason, they like went down to these tiny little slits instead of the round. Maybe I'll try putting them in again as extra large. I mean, that's pretty big. I'm on the token layer. I mean, so I guess technically my players can touch these. That's not bad. They're gonna have to pick them to solve the skill challenge, but I mean, they could find another way too. Players are clever. They find ways you never imagined them to solve a problem. So, okay. Let's see if that fixes it. Dense forest. And then come back. Okay, they're still there. I don't know. Hopefully they stay there by the end of the night. Long-term goal is to make a map of the Forbidden Forest. Which, I should actually make that now if I want them to go into the Forbidden Forest tonight after the ritual. I mean, I'm talking like I want a big map. One that shows all sorts of fun extra things inside the Forbidden Forest. Like, I don't think the forest should be tiny, right? I think it should be gloriously large. And it should have all sorts of fun secrets in it. That is really the essence of Dungeons and Dragons, isn't it? Especially, like, part of the problem with finding maps and stuff like that is I can't use most of the generic maps. Why you not draw? Oh. Okay. Because, you know, we're in a school setting. They don't often go to taverns. They don't often... I should hook up my dry tablet and stop using my mouse. We had this problem last time, you guys. I mean, I don't know how beautiful it has to be. Especially if I'm just doing this for a reference. So, like, say this is Hogwarts over here. I want mountains. To be up here. I'm gonna put things in the mountains. Right, there's probably giants in the mountains. Nobody knows what happened to those giants after the battle, right? Hogwarts? I mean, maybe they all died, but I don't know. There's so many questions of what happened to what after the battle. There's definitely gonna be some werewolves living here. So, like, there's a nice werewolf living in the Sorcerer's Stone dungeon, but where did all the bad ones go? Because they certainly didn't all die either. I think Fenrir might have died. Let's go check. Oh yeah, okay. So he's got end of life. He's been around for a really long time, actually. You should read his history. Which might give me a little bit more detail on werewolf habits. Oh, it says it's unclear. Also, the whole mystery of, like, Azkaban. What happened to Azkaban? After this, like, obviously Dementors aren't being used until 1988. Oh, post 1988. Aurors have been guarding the prison. Okay. This must be in Hogwarts: A Mystery. Sorry if you guys don't want spoilers. When you're planning for a Dungeons and Dragons thing, there's gonna be spoilers as I'm looking up lore and stuff like that. So beware. I should put something at the beginning of the video, I suppose. Okay. You guys can see that I get sidetracked. I'm like, I'm going to make a map. And then I'm like, oh, but what about this? So I put mountains up here. So maybe giants can be up there. And then I want ruins. And an access to the Chamber of Secrets to be over here. So... oh, where should we put Aragog's lair? I figure it's actually kind of close in. Like, I don't think that they went very deep when they were in school. So maybe, like, here, Aragog's lair. The big tree, where's the big tree gonna be? And the question is, are the spiders still there, too? Okay. Big tree. This is where Voldemort's ritual is, right? Okay. So maybe this is too close. They also trained dragons in the Forbidden Forest for the Triwizard Tournament, so I should find a spot for that. Okay. Aragog's lair. Maybe. Oh, and the centaurs. I gotta put the centaurs in here. Aragog's lair's down here. Centaurs. Dragon training. Dragon training could maybe just be at the edge. Here, just on the inside. They walked for a little bit. Maybe like, yeah. And then we need Centaur Village Town. I mean, if you're half horse, then I feel like it would be pretty hard to create an entire city, something that qualifies as a city, because you'd want to be able to run and be free with your horse legs. So they'd probably want an area far into the forest, because they don't really like humans very much. And they need a clearing because they like to see the stars. So maybe that's like the village. And then, well, this should be smaller. Well, they were training 5 dragons. That's fine. That's a fine size. Centaurs are much smaller, and there would be a bigger population in there. I have to put ruins. Oh, what if the Chamber of Secrets connected with the spiders? Well, no, they wouldn't like that. This because the spiders and the basilisks didn't get along. So maybe that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. I also want to put some cliffs and ravines in here. So maybe the Chamber of Secrets, it just can't be that far in, right? Because like Hogwarts is over here. How big is that complex? It can't be that big. I don't want to be wild. There could be a portal. It doesn't have to like connect physically, I suppose. This is Hogwarts after all. Maybe I'll do that. I feel like that gives me a lot more freedom to put it wherever I want in the forest. Water. Okay, so ravine. So like technically the Shrieking Shack, I think I put up here. So let's put like a river. Ooh, that's an ugly color. It might be nicer if my drawing didn't look like this, but it has to be a little bit brighter for me. Okay, I think it should probably run by this tree as well. This tree needs a lot of water because it's huge. The centaurs would probably want water too. They'd probably have a nice stream going by. I think that water should come from the mountain. So maybe the mountain range kind of stretches up here, which would make sense because Ciri is hid in the mountains outside of Hogsmeade. So, yeah. But we could put more like mountain streams in here and maybe it joins up, or maybe it creates like a little pond here. Mountain streams. Okay, so centaurs, dragons, this is where they're going. That's a really long walk though, huh? Should I put things on the way? I mean, well, yeah, I want them to solve this. Vinda could come. So like she finishes the ritual. They're like, oh man, let's follow the owl. And they come all out together. That would make probably the most sense because again, they're still students. I think they should have, a person of authority with them when they're going into the woods full of deadly creatures. So Vinda could come, and then if they didn't get to their destination, they could camp out here. And then she could help them, I guess, survive the night. Ooh, what if she, like, died while they were out here? That'd be that'd be really horrific. I don't know if I want to do that. Okay. I think I'm gonna move the tree just a little bit closer. No, move it. Yeah, and then again, I'm just trying to kind of think of like scale. Yeah, I know it was only like inches, but you know how it is when you're creative and you just feel like something's not good enough. All right. Oh yeah, B. Don't want that selected. River. That link's up there. That one can be erased. Okay. Beautiful. We still gotta put I want to put more ruins in here. So I think there should be like old civilization ruins, like maybe castles in here. Sorry, my phone's going off. It's still on, I just don't have the camera going. Okay. Nice little castle. And I wanted it to be like these ruins where Dumbledore and a bunch of his other friends came out with Filch and did some trait research to see if being a squib was something that they could fix. So like I figured they would have like some sort of secret meeting place in the ruins out here. They could find more trait research, but trait research in regards to squibdom, I guess. Anyway, I like that idea. I like how deep it is. I don't know how I would leave them out here. Maybe this is what's connected to the Chamber of Secrets. There would be like some sort of portal out here, which would make sense if they eventually found the traits in the Chamber of Secrets, the trait research there, and they linked the two places. Though that would mean that Dumbledore knew about it. Unless he stopped doing the research and then the other people kept going and then they found it. That could be. I just feel like it's really unlikely that Dumbledore knew about the chamber and would have let that attack happen, you know. So, ruin. Because, like, maybe this used to be an old settlement? Or a kingdom? Maybe not a castle, right? This could be, like, just little tiny buildings. So that I don't forget, I'm just going to put some text. And then I'll actually make this map nicer. Go there. I keep forgetting the name of the tree I used. Does it matter? Probably not, but you know it matters to me. Dragon training. I wonder what they would use this area for after the dragon training was done. I don't know. Did I just let it grow back? Maybe it's like, I don't know, overgrown now? Castle ruins. Well, we're just gonna say giant spiders. Oh, acromantula. Isn't that what they're called? I don't know. And then, oh, village ruins. Giants. Oh, probably like werewolves. Could be by the pond. Since the werewolves and giants were kind of, well, they were kind of on the same side, but let's be honest, they're probably not best friends or anything, so maybe they'd be fighting up here. Okay. I still want to like zoom in and put more details, like what would be cliffs and stuff like that, but I think that's pretty good for now. Thanks for watching. I will be back to let you guys know how the session went when we're done.